Shalom, B'siyata Dishmai, with Hashem's help, we'll begin learning a series of classes on the writings of Harav Yehuda Alkalai. Harav Yehuda Alkalai was born to his father Shlomo Chai in the year 1798 in Sarajevo in Bosnia. He is known as being the Mevaser HaTzionut. Before Zionism, he already had the plan that Zionism later incorporated. Many people don't know this, but Yehuda Alkalai was very much an influence on Herzl. Herzl's grandfather was the Chazan in the community of Sarajevo in Yugoslavia, and the rabbi and leader of that kehila was Harav Yehuda Alkalai. And 60 years before Zionism, he already wrote an entire plan for the return of Zion, to return to Eretz Israel. And he had a few sections in it to gather all the Jews from around the world, to create a unified central Jewish Congress, and to start a Jewish bank. And he wanted to create a political Judaism that would ask the nations of the world to grant Eretz Israel to the Jewish people as a Medina, as a state. And so this was the atmosphere in which the grandfather of Herzl grew up in, and most probably he was affected by it, even though there was in Herzl's family, there was they were secularized, and Herzl's parents were assimilated. But just like them, the really big part of the Jewish people back then believed that the right way is to live according to the main culture of the time, which is a European Christian culture. And Herzl grew up in a very secular environment. But even so, he did a bar mitzvah in Budapest when he was 13 years old. And in his family, there was not a lot of Judaism, but there was a lot of Jewish pride lying underneath. And you could see that the beginning of that, the inspiration that was deep inside of him, came from Harav Yehuda Alkalai. So let's just learn a little bit more about Yehuda Alkalai before we go into the book. At age 27, he became the rabbi of the Sephardic community in Zemun. Today it's part of Belgrade in Serbia. And part of his first role was to be a melamed tinokot, a teacher for children. And that's when he wrote his first book, Darkei Noam, the ways of pleasantness, to learn Hebrew from Ladino. In 1840, there was a libel against Jews in Damascus, and the situation of the Jews, and even in his area, it affected him, and he decided to start to find a solution to the galut. So the idea of Alkalai was to select Hebrew as a unified language of all the Jews, to encourage the learning of Hebrew, and to find minhagim that would unify all of the congregations, Ashkenazim and Sfaradim, and then going up to Eretz Israel and living a political life over there. Harav Yehuda Alkalai, in his generation, he was a pioneer because no one spoke about these type of ideas. But he publicized these ideas, first in a quotation called Shalom Yerushalayim in Ladino, and then in a book called Minhat Yehuda, which we will learn together. So this happened way before the first Zionist Congress, and that's why he's called the person who heralded Zionism. We will continue also to hopefully learn other of his books, Kol Mevaser, Sefer Chaim, Goral LeHashem. And for this reason, Harav Yehuda Alkalai went throughout all of the Jewish communities in Europe to spread his message. In 1852, he created in London the company Shalom Yerushalayim, which will settle Eretz Israel, but unfortunately it disassembled when he left the city. In 1874, he went up to Eretz Israel together with his wife Esther, and he resided in Yerushalayim. And 4 years later, only in 1878, he died without being able to see any of his plans materialized, but it definitely had a tremendous impact until today, the creation of the state of Israel. The city in Eretz Israel, Or Yehuda, is named after him, and 5 of his Talmidim started the city of Petah Tikva. So with that, with the help of Hashem, let us start and commence this holy book, Minhat Yehuda. We'll try to do this once a week, Be'ezrat Hashem. Minhat Yehuda begins like this. It says in the Gemara in Masechet Pesachim, Daf Nun Vav, Vayikra Yaakov el Banav, Bikesh Yaakov legalot et haketz levanav v'nistam menu. Yaakov wanted to reveal the end of times to his children, what will happen, how the history will unfold, and it was sealed from him. Hashem did not want him to spread this secret. Why? He said, maybe perhaps ishpesul bevanai, maybe there's something wrong in one of my children, one of my 12 children. That's why Hashem is not allowing me right now to reveal the end of times. So all the children together said, Shema Israel Avinu, listen Israel our Father, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Hashem our God is a one God, or the God of unity. So why did the Shevatim institute or read Kriyat Shema specifically when he wanted to reveal this deep secret of the end of times? Why were they saying Shema? If it's Kipshuto, in order to say, he suspected that maybe one of them has a blemish, and therefore they read Shema Yisrael Hashem Eloheinu Hashem Echad. Why do they say Shema Yisrael? Why do they tell him, listen Israel? Of course, listen Israel. They're standing in front of Israel. They're standing in front of their father. You don't have to say their father's name. So the Odish Lomar, Omro Bikesh Yaakov, Ratzah Yaakov legalot et haketz. So we learn now from the Midrash that Yaakov, alav shalom, wanted to reveal the end of times. ועוד כשכתוב אדם נסתר ממנו שאם ברוך הוא לא רצה שגלה את הקץ, היה לו ליעקב סתום הדברים, כמו שאמר לדניאל. If Hashem did not want to reveal him the end of times, Hashem could have told him that, some codes, just like Daniel. We have the book of Daniel, which tells us about the end of times, but in a very coded and cryptic way. That's the way he should have revealed it. But why completely did he hold back? Continues Harav Alkalai, V'nakdiv katav Haran b'drashotav derush hashishi v'ze leshono da'at Rambam zal. So the Ran writes in his Drashot that the opinion of the Rambam is shena'aset mitzvah achat levada eze shtiyeh min hamitzvot yizkeh adam l'chayei olam haba. When a person does even one soul mitzvah, any of the mitzvot, person will merit for chayei olam haba. This is the opinion of the Rosh. And he already wrote in the end of the Mishnah in Masechet Makot, what it says, we all know this famous memra of Mishnah. It says Hashem wants that all of our mitzvot would merit chayei olam haba. That's why He made them many Torah mitzvot. Shon harav sal mikrei emunah b'Torah. So this is what the Rosh says. That one of the foundations of the faith in the Torah is when a person does one of the mitzvot of the 613 mitzvot in the right order and the proper intention. And he's not doing anything for anything worldly, anything physical. He does it for its real purpose, just to give from love, just to give nachatuach to Hashem. With this mitzvah that he did, this pure mitzvah, he merits olam haba. And this is what he said, because we have so many mitzvot. This is what Rabbi Hananiah ben Akashya meant. Because Hashem gave us so many mitzvot, then, and we're doing them every day, we're doing so many mitzvot, then it's impossible that maybe at least once in a person's lifetime, it's impossible that he didn't do one mitzvah in its completeness, at least once. So that's why Hashem gave so many mitzvot. So it's enough to get but the point is that it's enough to get merit, chaya olam haba, just doing one mitzvah with a pure intention, a pure heart, and doing it, fulfilling it with all of its details, and be meticulous about it. Okay, understand that this is a very deep root. This is one of the foundations of the faith, as he said before. It's very important to hold on to this idea. But then then there is the Ran says about this, no, I want to dismiss it, because the Ra'ayah, the proof that the Rosh brings, is not really so accurate. So he says he's answering, no, it is strong. Hashem commanded Am Yisrael through Moshe the 613 mitzvot. And there's no doubt that you can't compare the sachar of each mitzvah and each mitzvah. Every mitzvah has a completely different sachar, a different reward. And V'hu Amram Zal, and this is what it says in Chazal, don't choose and say, okay, this mitzvah I'll do and that mitzvah I don't do, because you don't know what mitzvah was going to give you more reward. There's some mitzvot that you think, oh, this is a big mitzvah, and it's not worth as much as a mitzvah that you think is a very, okay, so I stood out for 1 second when a Talmid Chacham came in. How much is that worth? You don't know the worth of each mitzvah. You have maybe one mitzvah that is worth many other mitzvot. And the Torah did not want to reveal which reward is for which mitzvah. So that he didn't want that everyone should chase only after those mitzvot that have a high reward, and they will leave behind those mitzvot that the reward are not so high. And this is what the Rosh meant, that by doing one mitzvah, it's a person can merit chayei olam haba. So what the Ran didn't understand in the Rosh was, how could it be by doing just one mitzvah? No. Hashem gave Am Yisrael many Torah mitzvot, like Rabbi Hananiah ben Akashya said, so that they could merit Torah mitzvot, because you need a lot of mitzvot to merit chayei olam haba. So over here, the Harav Yehuda Alkalai, he settles between the two. He says, yes, it's true, not every mitzvah will give you chayei olam haba, but it can be that one mitzvah, you don't know which one it is, will give you your entire olam haba. But it's not so in every mitzvah. It's not going to be that there's one mitzvah, okay, so I ate an Erev Yom Kippur with the proper intention, so that will give me chayei olam haba. Maybe yes, maybe no. Some mitzvot, maybe I get the sachar in this world. אבל אין ספק שזה מצווה שהן גדולות הערך ורבות הגמול עד שבמעטות מהם יזכה אדם לחיים הבא. Some mitzvot that doing a very small effort you could get tremendous reward לחיים הבא. והוא אמרם, and this is what it says in the end of Masechet Makot, Rashi b'Simlai Taryag mitzvot nirmu Moshe b'Sinai. 600 mitzvot were all said to Moshe in Har Sinai. But David ve'amidan al echad, al Yud Aleph. Sorry, David the Melech came and said there are 11 core mitzvot, and he says this in the Mizmor: Hashem mi yagur be'aholecha mishkon be'arkochecha. הולך תמים ופועל צדק ודובר אמת בלבבו, לא רגל ללשונו, לעשה לרעהו רעה וחרפה לא עשה קרבו. All this in the מזמור, השם יגור באוהליך. Let's see which mizmor this is. Which number? Over there you can see several things that David thinks is the core mitzvot. This is in Tehillim 15, Tet Vav. Shem yagur be'aolecha. So over there there's 11 core mitzvot. Came Yeshayahu and said there are 6 mitzvot. Okay, we'll have to see those 6. And then came Chizkiyahu v'midam al echad. Chizkiyahu said there's only one mitzvah, v'tzadik be'emunato yichyeh. You could live only through your emunah, through your belief in Hashem, through your trust in Hashem, through your reliance and your absolute faith in Him. פירוש אצלי בזאת הממרה, אין ספק שדוד עליו השלום הבאים אמריו לא קצרו דבר ממצוות התורה. Of course, they're not coming to take away from all those other 613 mitzvot. ולכן לא יסתפק כל מזכיר כלל שאין הנביא אשר לחדש דבר, אבל הכוונה הוא על דרך שאמרתי שכל אחד מאלו עליו השלום ומשה, דרך ישעיה, מיכה, חבקוק. All the people that are mentioned in that memra, Moshe 613, David 11, Yeshayahu 6, Micha, Habakkuk, they all meant לתועלת ישראל. כל אחד מהם נגע בעניין זה רב התועלת לפי דורו. Each one did according to his generation. כמו שרבן משה היה מקום אנשי דורו ו40 אחריו שיקומו תרג מצוות, רצה לבאר רוב השכר שיש לקצתם מקצתם. משה רבן, since he was giving over 600 mitzvot, he didn't want to say, oh, these are the core ones, you could get the most reward from this. He wanted everyone to keep all the mitzvot. Because then people would leave the mitzvot. ודוד עליו שלום, בראותן שלו כי רבו, רחקו מהשיג השלמות. And David saw that his generation, people are not even doing half of the mitzvot, and they're very far away from perfection. ראה, כי זאת הכוונה שקיבל בה משה רבנו, תועלת תשוב הנזק. What Moshe Rabbeinu thought would be a plus became a minus. Because they didn't want to keep the entire Torah. They didn't like looking, oh, maybe this one is more, maybe this one is more. Therefore, he told them, okay, these are the core ones. These are the ones that are high reward, so they would go and get them. Don't say lies. Don't shame others. Accept suffering. Accept ridicule from others. And so on. Because he saw in his Ruach HaKodesh, his Mikubal, he received in transmission, these 11 have a very high reward. And he wanted his people in his generation to merit Chayei Olam Haba. And even though within those 11 mitzvot that David HaMelech gave, there are some mitzvot that are very high reward, and still David didn't tell us which ones are higher than others over there. משה רבנו עליו השלום במצוות כולן, שדוד היה מקום מאנשי דורו, שישלימום כתקוות משה באנשי דורו שהשלימו תרי"ג. Except for the same reason as Moshe did with the 613. כאשר מסרו הדורות עוד בימי ישעיה, when the generation became even less meritorious and even less earnest as in the times of David, in the time of Yeshaya. He saw again the reason why David concealed what are the true, worthy mitzvot, that he did it because that people don't chase only after one. In the end of the day, he said, well, here are 6, because he saw people not even doing all those 11. He said, okay, here are the 6 top 6 high reward mitzvot. In the time of Micha, he said 3 mitzvot, until Habakkuk came and said, there's one mitzvah that is the highest reward of them all, v'tzadik be'emunato yichyeh, that tzaddik lives according to Allah. This is until here the Lashon of the Ran. And it says in Kiddushin, person who does one mitzvah, mitivin lo, they do good for him, marichin lo yamav, they lengthen his days, v'nochel et haaretz, and he merits Eretz Israel. We'll continue Be'ezrat Hashem tomorrow. or next video of this series on Ot Gimel of Minhat Yehuda. Be blessed and take care.